I've been coaching the most busiest people in their 40s to 50s for their weight loss and health goals, and almost all of them used to make the 5 mistakes that I'm about to speak about in this video. And make sure that you stick out until the 4th mistake, because that one is universal. My name is Christian and I run the Health Academy, which is an online coaching program in which I have been for now 6 to 7 years helping busy people on their weight loss goals, creating plans for them so that they can transform, get better, feel better, look better while they navigate an intense work-life schedule. Without further ado, let's jump into the mistake number one. One of the biggest mistakes that everybody in the world of weight loss makes, mostly the people who have normal, regular, daily work-life kind of regimen, is to cut out carbs. Now, listen, I don't necessarily have anything against the fact of doing a low-carb diet because, hey, the reality is that most people's diets are just very heavy in carbs. And so it is very natural to think that whenever you gain weight or whenever you lose weight or whenever you struggle to lose that weight, then it might be because of the carbs. Because just look at a typical breakfast, either that is here in Asia or in the Western world. Just look at a typical lunch, just look at a typical dinner. There is always some form of carbs in those meals. So it makes sense to want to cut out the carbs. And the mistake that I have a problem with here is that the people who decide to take that initiative have forgotten that despite the fact that carbs might be playing a role in making them gain weight, carb is also one of those main foods that power them in their day-to-day intensive schedule. All right. We all know someone who struggled with cravings. We all know someone who struggled with energy, who struggled with fogginess, and we all know someone who pretty much just always have cravings for sugar or cravings for sweet later on at night. And that is because they live a very hectic lifestyle that require a lot of energy, that most of it is created by carbohydrates. And so that person, right, they either have cut out the carbs too much out of their diet, or they are consuming the wrong type of carbs. And that's typically what happens in the world of weight loss. When you have someone who, is like all in, who want to go hard on their diet and who want to eliminate all the carbs and the sugar, sure, that is going to work short term. But then because of your intensive, very busy, very hectic lifestyle, your body is going to start claiming for some sort of food. And so this is where you are going to find yourself having very crappy energy throughout the day. You are going to find yourself have even more intense craving because your body does not have any sort of blood sugar circulating anymore because of the fact that you have eliminated carbs, and you are pretty much just going to struggle to stick to your diet. So I don't recommend anybody who want to lose weight, and mostly who want to lose weight and keep it off forever, to cut out carbs, because it is just a recipe for short-term results. But sooner or later, you are going to miss your carbs, and you are going to have that moment where the devil is going to speak to you. You are going to have those moments where you had a long week at work, you had a very stressful argument with your significant other, stress ramps up, and when stress ramps up, cortisol ramps up, which also increases your hormones of hunger, which then, in addition to you not being emotionally strong, is directly going to make you become super tempted to overeat on all the carbs and go back to ground zero. So this is the reason why I don't necessarily support the idea of aggressively cutting out carb whenever you want to lose weight, okay? It makes sense too if you used to eat, let's say, 100% of carbs in a day, then go down to 75%, go down to 50%, but do not go all the way down to 10 or to 0%. And mostly do not do that overnight. If you really want to be crazy, if you really want to work your way towards a totally low carb, zero carbs diet, and maybe go keto, then two things that you need to keep in mind is that the first thing is do it gradually. Reduce by 10% each week and see how you adjust. Do never try to reduce more without at least feeling like you have gotten used to it. And the second thing is you must be ready to sustain it for life, because, hey, the way that you lose weight is usually also always the way that you keep the weight loss off long term. Guess what happens when you cut out the carbs? You lose the weight. And now you think you have reached the weight loss goal, and you are going to tell yourself, hey, I'm going to start eating normally now. I'm going to start eating the carbs again. what happens once the carbs and the calories from the carbs get back in your body? You're going to regain the weight. So again, in all situations, a low carbs diet, unless you are ready to do it forever, is usually just a short term fix that I don't support and that I never recommend to any of my clients. Okay, which brings us to the second mistake that people usually make when they are trying to lose weight. We live in this world where people want fast results, and they also believe very, very wholeheartedly that whatever they do to see results in terms of their physical goals, it has to be aggressive, it has to be painful, and it has to be rigid, and it has to be 360-degree all in one day, like all immediately. But again, we have very busy lives. This is always the approach that I teach my clients in my online coaching program. I always tell them, hey, you came to me as a parent, you came to me as a husband, you came to me as someone with a very active social life, you came to me with someone with a very high responsibility job. You are not just a random employee who goes and who does your part, but you are someone who takes part in very important meetings with board advisors, with executives. You travel around the world on a monthly or even a weekly basis. All of those things are taking up a lot of your energy every day. So the diet that we are going to build for you is a diet that is supposed to empower you for those things first. If you have this packed, overproductive lifestyle and that you decide to drastically cut out every food groups that exist, which brings us to the second mistake, skipping meals, then you are just setting yourself up for failure. Intermittent fasting is very, very, very popular in the world of weight loss. And this comes from someone, by the way, whom used to practice intermittent fasting as well. When I was, I believe, 20 years old, 22 years old, I did a combination of intermittent fasting and low carbs, and I ramped up my activity level from one workout a day to two workouts every day for 5 days a week. I obviously lost weight, but by the end of it, I felt like trash, and all that I wanted to do was to eat back everything that I thought I was missing out on, which were the carbs. Now, guess what happened? As soon as I did that, I regained the weight, all right? And so, again, you can lose weight in every kind of way possible, guys. That's the thing. But when it comes to sustainability, and also when it comes to trying to do a diet on top of a very hectic lifestyle, you need to think very, very, very well. Because if you are going to work, if you are going to require to be your sharpest person in the morning, knowing that food is fuel, do you feel like it really makes sense for you to skip meal? Right? And this becomes even more, quote unquote, harmful in the category of women who are between that age range of 45 to 55, because that's an age range in which the body is not as robust as it used to be anymore, and any sort of stressor applied by the wrong nutritional habit is going to make the body lose muscle, is going to create a peak of cortisol, and is also going to pretty much create additional sources of stress, which are not going to help at all. So this is why skipping meals is not good. Because again, going back to what I was speaking about with carbs, what happens when you skip your carbs is that you lose weight at first, because that's always the first reaction of your body. But then your body is going to realize that, hey, what the hell? Where is the thing that I was used to? It seems like this is going to be my new normal, but I'm not liking this new normal right here, given the day-to-day normal that I have to go through. So let me ramp up my hunger so that this person is going to start eating carbs again. Basically, low carbs creates more hunger and creates more fatigue. And also, same thing with skipping meals, it creates more hunger, it creates more fatigue. Show me someone who has an issue with staying disciplined at night when they come back home from work. Show me someone who easily open up the fridge and check out the pantry and go for the extra bite and go for the snacks and go for the second serving and go for the fourth and the fifth plate whenever they have dinner. And then show me someone too who, even after having dinner, they still wake up in the middle of the night to have something else. And I'll show you someone who have some form of meal skipping throughout the day. It's either that this person did not prioritize a proper breakfast, or either this person did not prioritize a proper lunch, which means that in the end, you skip meals early in the day. Sure, you are doing a caloric deficit, but what is the point if later on in the day you realize that you have actually set yourself up to eat back all the calories plus interest later on in the night? Okay, so food elimination, skipping meals, I do not recommend them unless, okay, because I keep saying that it works, right? Any ways of weight loss work, but you just need to be okay with a few prices to pay. Zero carbs will work, okay? Skipping meals, intermittent fasting, eating only one meal a day, maybe one meal every other day, if you're crazy and psycho like that, will work. But you are going to feel like shit, and you are also going to be very likely not able to sustain whatever weight loss you lose. And you are also going to be very likely to lose muscles, because with just eating once a day, there's no way on earth that you'll be able to eat your daily goals of proteins, eat your daily goals of fats, which we know contribute a lot to muscle building and hormonal health. And obviously, since you are a psycho, and since you have also decided to cut out carbs, your body now does not even have energy to push you and to fuel you during intensive workouts, which means that the only thing that you're burning at the workouts are calories, but your body is actually not getting stronger and improving as a result of those workouts. So again, skipping meals don't work. It is not healthy, it is not sustainable, and it is only going to set you up to eat more calories afterwards. So you either will not see weight loss or will see weight regain short term or long term. Okay. Now, problem number 3 that I see in the world of weight loss, and also one of the biggest and most common reason why people who think they eat healthy still don't lose weight, is because of the cheat meal culture. What is a cheat meal? A cheat meal is, hey, I've been good all week, I've been following my diet, I've been eating the chicken breast, I've been doing my low carbs, I've been skipping meals, it's the weekend, I need to enjoy. And then they enjoy so much that they cancel out the caloric deficit that they have set during the week, and they start the next week going back to ground zero, and they never make true results. Okay, they eat less, they do the diet from Monday to Friday, and by the end of Friday, they have maybe achieved cumulatively a caloric deficit of, let's say, 2,000 calories. Now the weekend arrives, they decide, no, I'm not doing a caloric deficit because I'm special, because I'm a unicorn, blah, 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 blah. And they go back to eating normal food, and they eat a lot of that food, and all that food adds up so many calories that the 2,000 little caloric deficit that they have created in the week is canceled out, and even is getting some excess calories as a result of the habit on the weekend. Now, don't get me wrong here. I'm not telling you that you should not go enjoy the weekend, but some people get too much in a celebration mindset when the weekend comes. You know, there's a difference between enjoying food. There's a difference between, going to the restaurant, hanging out with family, hanging out with friends, and having some bites of food and enjoying the real reason why you went out, which I believe is to catch up with your friends. There's a difference between doing that and to shit your face by overeating and overindulging on the food. All right, listen to me. If you have that mindset with your diet, if you have that mindset of very strong, very high, very intense need of a reward when you're on a diet, then you don't have a diet problem. I would say you have problems related to stress, problems related to deficiency, problems related to self-care, problems related to recovery, because a body that is well taken care of, a body that is quote unquote healthy, is a body that will be okay with whatever regular quantity of food you eat, and is a body that will not push strong hormones of hunger to force you to eat back tons of food. Whenever you have that urge, that super strong craving for something very saucy, something disgusting, and that you eat that thing and that you cannot stop, it's like you feel like there's a devil speaking to you, then it's not a discipline problem. It's not a problem with the diet per se that you have, but it's a deeper problem. It means that your body lacks of something specific. When the body forces you to seek for those exciting things and it drives you to make these choices, then it means that it lacks of something. And it could be anything. Maybe you're dehydrated. Dehydration is a real thing because we live in a country, in a world where everybody fuels up on coffee. It could be because of a lack of sleep. It could be because of a nutritional deficiency. This is a real thing. Maybe you lack of some vitamins, maybe you lack of some magnesium, maybe lack of whatever. There is something that lacks in you. It could also be a lack of entertainment because boredom is a real thing. Sometimes we don't eat bullshit as a result of discipline, as a result of whatever. We just eat bullshit because we don't know what else to do. So if you have those struggles with your diet, then again, look at what might be lagging in your day-to-day diet. And again, this brings us back to what I was speaking about with low carbs and skipping meals, because usually the person who abuses food on a few times a week or a few times a month, while this person is clean-ish and regulated most of the month and most of the week, is actually a person that lacks of something, is a person who is not fueling themselves properly. This brings us to the fourth mistake, which is also the other thing that you might be lacking of if you are the type to struggle a lot with cravings, and it is to not have any idea of how much proteins you are supposed to consume on a day-to-day basis. Listen, guys, protein is a superfood. One very interesting thing that proteins do is to make your body burn more calories just by having your body digest it. This means that if I were to eat 100 grams of rice here and 100 grams of chicken breast here, and that the 100 grams of rice has, I totally forgot, 200 to 300 calories, and that 100 grams of chicken breast has about the same thing, 200 to 300 grams of calories, your body will burn a certain percentage of the calories of the chicken breasts as opposed to the rice, because protein is very hard to digest, it's very hard to break down, so it makes your body works additionally in order to process that food. So you burn more calories by eating more protein, which is really fun. This brings us to the other fact about protein. Because it makes your body burn more calories, and I've already told you why that happens. It's hard to digest, it's hard to process, it takes more time, it keeps you full longer. Have here a plate full of chicken breast and have here a plate full of pasta, 200 grams of pasta and 200 grams of chicken breast. If you finish the 200 grams of pasta, you might still want to eat some. If you finish the 200 grams of chicken breast, you might not be able to think of food anymore for another 4 to 6 hours. And obviously, people are going to say that chicken breast is boring. I know. I also hate chicken breast, which brings us to my hack. I mix chicken breast with chicken thighs. Like whenever I cook them, I usually mix them all together, or sometimes also just eat chicken thighs by themselves, because yes, they have less protein, yes, they have more fat, but they still have enough protein. They still have more protein than they're still more nutritious than, let's say, a big piece of fried chicken drumstick from McDonald's. If you kind of see the difference, and also the comparison that I'm trying to make here. So there are many types of proteins that can be enjoyable, also depending on how you cook it, to be completely honest. Because you can have the best food, but not being able to cook for shit, your food is going to taste like shit. All right, that's also a very harsh reality. I gotta say it how it is. All right, and so eating more of the proteins are going to keep you full. Eating more of the whatever has enough proteins in them is also going to make you burn more calories. Whenever I had a client coming into my coaching program and that they told me that they were dealing with cravings, that they were dealing with very intense hunger, energy crashes, and that they were dealing with pretty much a lot of fatigue, muscle soreness, I just said, hey, this is your goal of protein, body weight multiplied by 2, eat that on a day-to-day basis. And it made them believe, it made them feel it actually looks like they eat more because it's really a lot of food. Everyone whom I've calculated their daily goal of protein for, they were shocked because they realized, hey, that's a lot of food. And the truth is, it's not a lot, but you have just been used to eating so little that the real standard that your body needs looks like it's a lot. So sometimes, guys, really, all that I've done with a client was, hey, this is your body weight, this is your goal of protein based on your body weight, these are the foods that you're gonna eat this grams of this for breakfast, eat this much grams of this for lunch, and that's it, it's over. Protein is a superfood. If you are going to think of only one hack out of this video and use only that one hack, it will be this fourth hack right here, which is proteins. Now, we are going to finish off with the fifth mistake, which is pretty much the fact of ignoring calories from beverages and from sauces. If there is one thing that have gotten my most consistent, diligent, and disciplined clients to fail from seeing the result that they want despite following their meal plan, it's those small additional things that they add to the meal plan. For example, we decide that we are gonna eat salmon and some rice and some asparagus. Very basic, very simple example. And we actually realize that they don't just eat that. Sometimes they pour a certain serving of mayonnaise on top of the salmon. In addition to that dish, they have some form of juice, orange juice, which is not too bad, but still has calories. Or they have some form of soda. If it's not with that meal that they have soda, then it is throughout the day. In the morning, this is also a very universal thing. They have some form of coffee with at least some form of creamer or some frappuccino. And those small things add up by the end of the day. It adds up a total of, let's say, 200 to 300 calories to the diet, which, looking at the day, it's not much. 200, 300 calories, it's not much. But they do it every day for every meals for a whole week. Now imagine. So it's not just 200 calories. Now it's 200 times 7. It's 1,400 calories. Now imagine them doing that for a whole month. So sometimes when someone already has it all figured out in terms of the diet and that we are still not seeing the changes that we want to see at a reasonable pace, then it's because there are those small extras in the diet that we need to take a closer look at. And that once we realize and find out those things and we get rid of them, it's over. Right, so those were pretty much top of mind for me today, guys. The 5 biggest mistakes. I believe this video is going to be very, very helpful for you because it's currently December. It's the last year of it's the last month of the year 2025. We are slowly marching towards 2026. New Year's resolutions are going to go through the roof, and I know that every year, just like every year, everybody is going to hop on whatever fad, restrictive, fast food diet exists out there. Low carbs, skipping meals, juice cleanses, Ozempic, supplement, blah, 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 blah. But again, those things are only going to work short term. If you want to work and if you want to create results long term, you need to have a more smarter approach. You need to eat as a way to empower your body, as a way to fill in the deficiencies that you might have. And on top of that, you also need to take care of yourself from a mental, emotional, psychological perspective, because you could have the best diet here and the best workout program, but you could be a fucked up person, emotionally unstable, and you are always going to mess up on this diet. You are never going to have that mental fortitude to stick to that diet. You are always going to have a certain instinct of self-sabotage, which then is always going to make you turn around in circle, because that's just what happens when you're not fully master of your emotions and master of yourself, which I know is a hard thing to do and a hard thing to work on, but definitely worth it. All right, guys, I'm gonna drop a link in the description box if you ever want to speak about working together for your health goals, your weight loss goals, fitness goals, body composition goals. Click on the link below and I'll see you on the other side.